here on Couch Coach Live. You can hit us up here on Couch Coach Live 804-402-2893. You can also check us out on legacyinternetradio.com, or you can also check us out on Facebook Live. So we're here. I think the biggest story of this week, I guess, so far in the last like 48 hours, the Kristine Leahy versus LaVar Ball altercation that happened on Wednesday during the herd. Now, of course, if you don't know who Kristine Leahy is, she is actually the co-host of the herd. And she suggested, well, first she asked, in a sense, like, how many shoes have you sold? And of course, LaVar said, pretty much stay in your lane. And of course, other things.
Don't forget the hand gesture.
Oh yeah, don't forget the hand gesture. Yeah, like the tops in the hand type of, that as well. And then of course she asked him, it was suggested that he should have women's clothing and his brand, Big Baller brand, to have women's centric type of gear. And he said, pretty much, and this is just to paraphrase it, that he's not in the business of selling clothes to women, pretty much, for the most part. He said this isn't, Big Baller brand isn't a woman's, brand. So of course, there's been and it's so funny. This last, I want to say the last day has been very interesting. So of course, getting ready for the show, and of course, as we talk, me and LA are actually in a sports group on Facebook, and it's so funny how people were just going at it, and it's just amazing to think that grown men can have civil conversations or have civil dialect on the matters at hand. If you have one particular issue with it, then you're the worst part. And this is before we get into our take about it. Someone even suggested that LaVar Ball was a racist, and I'm like, well, how can you surmise that is racist? And of course, they couldn't give me an explanation as to how. And I'm thinking to myself, we have really jumped off the deep end of this topic. Yeah. That's one thing I hate about how that went south.
Yeah.
So of course, your take with this whole LaVar Ball situation.
The whole thing, since no one knew who this guy was until March Madness tournament started. You didn't hear about him at all during the regular season. But once the stage got bigger, the lights got brighter, that's when we heard about the Big Baller brand. We heard nothing about it throughout the year because also there could have been an NCAA infraction. Didn't want to hurt Lonzo's chances of being ineligible for the upcoming draft. But, and I'm not against him promoting his son. I have no issue being that. If you're a proud father, proud parent, and you want to support your children in any way, shape, or form, you do that. But the problem I have with him is when he starts to demean and starts to degrade people in the process. He can compliment his son in one breath and then knock someone else down a peg so he can stand on that platform as well. So it's not just like, all right, this pedestal's for Lonzo. No, I'm standing up here with him. This is my boy. And he's making a lot of elaborate statements that Lonzo has to live up to. He's Magic Johnson with a jump shot. So now what you're expecting him to do is hit a scalp hook in game one of the finals and win the game. And another issue that everyone is they've got the camera in his face because he's bringing all this negative attention. Stop giving him interviews. It is Lonzo who is the one who's going to be in the NBA. Because I can guarantee you, on draft night, LaVar might walk up on the stage and get the hat. It's not about Lonzo. It's about LaVar building this. Well, he's building his own brand. You're not hearing Lonzo say anything. Lonzo's not promoting the shoe. The shoe is called the ZO2, so that means Lonzo and his jersey number 2. Only thing you've seen is a picture on the internet with him holding the Kobe Bryant shoe. It's his shoe, but we all know.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And the way to stop all this, man, stop interviewing him. And I have a big problem with Colin Cowherd because BNS Colin show, that's his co-host. He has to work with her on a day-to-day basis. How do you think she feels going forward? Did this guy, because when you work with somebody in that close of proximity, you would essentially be friends. You would think they were friends. They have a friendship relationship outside of being in that studio. Yeah. And he didn't help her out. He just left her to the wolves. And he didn't defend her. Because that's his show. He could have easily stopped that commercial break. Listen, you out of line. We're stopping this right now. But nothing is done. This man is going to network after network, and he's berating person by person. He's stepping on anybody's feet. He has to, and he'll make one friend, and everybody takes it and runs with it because at first Shannon Sharp had an issue with him. But Skip Bayless was all keying with him. He was hand in hand. Look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. Yeah. And slowly but surely, they all join the flock. It's like he's leading the call.
Yeah. And actually, to go back on your point, and it's one of those things where, honestly, in a sense, how she called him out, in a sense, was wrong. And my thing is, how he carried that situation is what, in a sense, bothers me, especially for a guy of that type of nature, where you're at a point where your son is going to be probably one of the most popular draws in the NBA season next season. You don't have to go toe-to-toe with her. If you have a situation, talk to her like an adult. And that's my thing about this situation is talk to her. And she is, she did a lot of reaches. And one of the reaches I really didn't like was the whole thing of when he said that something's going to come to you in the sense of karma. And I think how I interpret those is, well, for you to pretty much down my children, these children are going to flourish. When you say that my children, that, how is a coincidence that all 3 of his children want to play basketball? Or to the sense where I think that Lonzo is scared of you. Yeah. Like your children are scared of you. Now, that's as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I know people who are parents, and I know how they get when it comes to their children. And there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if someone, a parent, and someone on the outside looking in and saying and suggesting that you might be an abusive parent, that is where you cross the line. Yeah. But in the same token, this is when you sit her out to the side and you talk as adults. And that's when you say, hey, and like I was actually was talking with one of my boys prior to the show. I think, honestly, the real reason why Colin Cowherd didn't say nothing, because he knew that there was ratings go. And that's why I was like, sometimes, like in that type of situation, like if, and let's be real, if he knew something was really, really about to pop off, because that's how I really thought it was going to really pop off, because that's how it was going to be, this is where it needs to stop. But they wanted to keep rolling because this is what happens, and this is the method of LaVar's madness. And like you said, stop doing the interviews and stop doing the press. But he's such a big draw, and I can even attest to it here. We've been on air for, this is our 7th show back on, and I guarantee you, if you listen back to our shows, which you can listen to on SoundCloud, also check us out on YouTube and all your favorite social medias. LaVar Ball has been on every single every single show, and this is what he wants, and that's like you said, we are feeding into what he wants. And if you told me in January, and I've heard of LaVar Ball in November, but he was silent. He said, well, and I agree, he made a compelling argument about UCLA winning that championship at that particular time. Because that's when I kind of started putting them on notice, because that was like right after they beat Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at them a little bit more now, just he brought somewhat of a draw to UCLA basketball. But if someone said, thinking about it, because we've been back since the first week of April, you got the NBA, you got the NFL draft, you got the NBA playoffs. if somebody told me at the beginning of the year you'd be talking about a father of a guy that's gonna be projected as the number 2 overall pick. We're not talking about number 1 pick. He's not a once in a generation type of player. But we're talking about a father of a guy of a point guard that's gonna be drafted in this league. That's why this is the whole genius of what he's doing. What it really boils down to. And he's one of the type of guys where like he's hard to defend. Because when you see like today, I can defend him about what happened with Kristine Leahy, but I guarantee you he's gonna do something next week to make me say he's a jackass.
Yeah.
Clearly. It's gonna happen.
Because even in that same interview, it started off with him and Kristine Leahy, and then Jason Whitlock was brought into it.
And that's where the biggest reach was, because what she said, now you're disrespecting a woman, and in a sense you're body shaming.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like how she reached for that. Because
but essentially it was true. Because he's done it with Charles Barkley. He's done it.
Well, the donut.
Yeah, and it's like, he does that. And I think he's trying to think that he's a comedian now, but it's getting out of hand what he's doing. He is going to hurt his son's brain. You need the consumer. To have a brand, you need the consumer. Of all life forms, all shapes and sizes, colors, male, female. You need that. And then there's a way, like, he's not going to apologize for what he does. Like, you have to have some kind of humility in this situation.
Especially when you're, like, and that's my thing, like, and you make a great point. When he's conjuring up these thoughts of he's going to be a billionaire, you can't just sit there and say, hey, this, a reporter like Kristine Leahy, like, you can't just dismiss her, and you can't, and you can't, like you said, make jokes about people or that type of nature. You can ball bust and joke, but some of those jokes, there's always a truth in a joke.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, and that's one thing I hate how, and that's one thing about everything now, how it's coming to race, because everybody's so, we should support him because of that. But you're right. We are the consumer. And 9 times out of 10, your consumer base, I don't honestly think it can afford $495 pair of shoes. And that's fine. And my thing is, you're going on to and my thing is this. Like somebody had a meme of this the other day. Mercedes-Benz and these type of places, they don't have commercials or free press because they know their worth. Yeah. But you're going on these shows where you have people of our similar type of social economic level. We can't afford $495 pair of shoes.
But I'll go into another point. Okay, so from the names of the people who he's put out there that said their purchase, Shannon Sharp, Chad Johnson, Michael Bennett, those are names that we essentially know. Yeah. You haven't heard anybody from the NBA say that they're going to support his shoe. Because why? Because he's knocking down everyone in that path to build up his son. Right. Those are the people, that 1% of America, those are the ones who can essentially afford that shoe. But when you keep criticizing that audience,
and that's my thing, and that's why I tell people all the time, like you said, I can defend him about that situation, but of course I was so against the $495 pair of shoes, because you can't come on to these type of shows and try to and build up the type of hype for the people that really can't even afford it. That's why when you present a product like that into a market space of the type of people that watch these shows or follow your son, like you said, they're going to be like a 1% of people that can literally afford that shit. And that's my thing. Things like the Mercedes-Benz of the world, they don't. Well, they do. Well, now they weren't Mercedes-Benz. It was like Rolls-Royce and all that. They don't have commercials because they know their value. Yeah. And that's why with him, that's why we're so against the price point, because in a sense you're an unproven commodity. You're going on these shows that, like you said, we didn't know him this time last year. We didn't even know him 6 months ago. Yeah. Even half of us didn't even know who he was 6 months ago. So for you to come on and then have that type of, and that's my biggest thing about the price point. And then, like you said, if you can't afford my shoes, you're not a big baller. you're gonna alienate people from the jump, and that's why like I don't understand that there is a method to his madness. I agree with that, but you're setting your son up for failure.
And it's not just him. You got 2 more coming behind.
Right. So if Lonzo fails, those kids have no chance.
Yeah.
They don't have no chance to.
We just said a snowball's chance in hell.
And
what was the point? I'm sorry, I drew blank. Oh man.
But it's just one of those things where it's just like you can't. When you go on those type of, it's just like, I mean, it's just like anything. You go into these type of shows and you're trying to criticize people who, in a sense, alienate you, and that's fine and that's why we gravitate to the brands, because like if I'm like, you know, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. This gonna make me want to go more to the brands now than ever before, because if I looked at your shoe as the most expensive. Now, in a sense, I'm thinking getting LeBron's at $175 is a steal.
Yeah, the point I was gonna make, because he did that in another interview. He was like, he's the only person who has their own shoe. He said, like people like LeBron and Kyrie, KD, the top of the Nike platform. He said they don't get any input on those price points. He said, how come this kid? Again, why are you bringing up their names?
Right, and that's
their name should never come out of your mouth. And say, well, you know, he's got a pair of slides that cost more than what LeBron's top dollar shoes worth.
But that's not nothing to brag about when you have an unproven commodity like him. And that's my thing, is you're setting your kid up for disaster. And that thing is, he's trying to say, well, there's more pressure in life. But if it's a game that he loves, why would you add more pressure to him? And then you got to think about it. The league, they're already going to find ways to, to go against him. Now you're fueling it, because now you're talking about he shouldn't get advice from Kobe Bryant, and now he should get advice from Kobe that his kids are better than LeBron kids. Which I'm like, how can you compare an 11 and an 8-year-old kid to him? And that's one thing. Like I said, it was something I like how LeBron handled it. Except keep my damn kids out your mouth. Yeah. Keep my kids' name out of your mouth. And that's how you handle it. Yeah. You handle it in that kind of way. But like one of me and one of our boys talk about, he wouldn't say that in LeBron James' face. Yeah. I know that for a fact. And
then like, how do you sit there and tell, oh, my boy ain't gonna take no advice from, like, Kareem is gonna talk to anybody who walks in that Lakers building.
Right.
Jerry West might have a conversation with you. Kobe's gonna say something. Magic's gonna say something. How do you tell these guys who essentially built that franchise that you can't talk to my boy?
Right. And you need to talk to them. Because it's my thing. There's gonna be peaks and valleys in his season next year. He's gotta lean on to those type of guys, because I always feel as though, especially in whatever life or whatever thing that you do in this life, you're gonna have peaks and valleys in your life, and you have to have influences in your life to help you go through these trials and tribulations of your life. They are the quintessential examples of teaching you how to handle adversity. They all have been through their own certain types of adversity. And for you to shut them out, that's a red flag. That's something I'm like, you got to get humble, because the league is going to humble him.
But it's to no fault of his own. He has to come. They keep saying, "Oh, he's his own man. He does this."
He's not.
But you're not letting him.
He's not letting him, and that's the biggest issue.
And it's like, we have yet to hear Lonzo come out and say, "You know what? I'm my own man." LaVar is the ultimate puppet master. He's pulling the strings. All right, Lonzo, say what you need to say. But then he's like, "Well, this is my dad. He's been this way for 19 years." Yeah, but you need to tell him to stay off the camera.
Yeah, and that's my thing is, and I think now with, and people and it's something that we talked about, Homeboy, we talked about, when is this 15 minutes fame is going to stop? And I'm like, I don't think it's going to stop, because now I think, like I said, he's our Kris Jenner of present day, where he's going to be such of a puppet master in his children's lives, especially now with the son going to the Lakers. And then you got the other kid that's going to UCLA now. So, of course, there's gonna be some form of reality television, and we're all.
He's already got a reality show.
Right.
He signed up. He's got one. I don't know which show it's gonna be on,
but he's gonna have it.
But you look at what's gonna hurt Lonzo in the future.
Yeah.
The All-Star games are voted by the fans.
Right.
So for his father to have all of America turn on him, because they're not gonna vote him as a star with his dad doing all this and everything. Because like you're demeaning women, you're shaming body types. Mm-hmm. Any chance that he can bring somebody
and if you're looking at that, he's actually, if you're looking at it from, if you want to reach, he's pretty much insinuating, not poor, but as far as people that can't afford his shoes, that. And
then we'll go to another statement that he made when UCLA lost. They lost because of the 3 slow white guys.
Right, and that's
where the race thing came up, because he's done it before.
Right, and that's why I'm like, and that's in bad taste. That's something that he shouldn't have said, and that's why, like, when we think, that's, matter of fact, that was when we first episode when we talked about that, and how you can't say that type of stuff. You can't. Like, I just don't understand.
He's worse than RG2.
Well, yeah.
Because and ever since I think that's one of the reasons why he left DC was because of his father.
Yeah.
When things were good, you heard nothing from him. When they were bad, he was in the locker room. He was on Twitter, in front of every news camera. Yeah. And it's going to take. I really want to see how Magic is going to play this out.
Yeah.
Because also I don't want to see the trend of everybody pulling the Steve Francis.
Yeah.
When he told them he wasn't going to play for Vancouver.
And that's my thing. And then this whole thing about I'm not going to work out for nobody except for LA. And I'm like, hold on. You can't do that.
You didn't win the NCAA championship to garner that much say so.
Right. And that's what he was saying, where it's gonna be like just like UCLA, like we didn't go across tour. But that's different because you have the choice. Yeah. This is different because what you're saying, and like you said, I'm like you. I'm almost to a point where I want Boston to get him just to be spiteful.
Yep.
Because this is one of those things where you can't, at this point in your career, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And that's nothing is wrong with it if you are that type of guy. But for this particular situation, it would be a perfect situation. And and that's why I'm hoping if Boston if they do trade that pick and somebody's interested.
Trade it Phoenix. Phoenix, jump up there and go get that number 1 pick.
Right.
You never had a number 1 pick.
Yeah, right. I don't know what they're gonna give them, but
you got Alex Lynn or Bender. Bledsoe. Throw it all in there.
Well, now you don't want another Mitchell Garden. You can't do that. But another topic we want to discuss: Stephen A. Smith versus Michael Bennett. This is one of those things where, of course, Stephen A. Smith once again he's bashing. Pretty much Michael Bennett for supporting Colin Kaepernick and of course we knew at the time as far as the Colin Kaepernick situation with him kneeling during the flag and also his right that not his right, but as far as he told people that he didn't vote during the 2016 presidential election. And of course Stephen A. Smith keeps on harping on the fact that people die for their right to vote and pretty much and I like what Michael Bennett said in the sense that he wants to encourage positive dialogue with him, and he also wants to stress the importance that in his opinion that voting is important to an extent, but there still is work to be done in the community that Stephen A. Smith pretty much is all talking no action, which I agree. And my biggest thing, that's why I hate how we talked about this a little earlier, prior to the start of the show, of how this whole thing of the importance of voting. And I'm like, I understand from certain people's perspective of how they feel. I don't, like I'm saying, I'm either way. If you don't vote, I don't, it doesn't matter. If you vote, that's cool. I've always, not to be, political. I'm more concerned about local politics more so than anything because, of course, they affect you more than anything. But in the same token, I'd rather what Colin Kaepernick has done with helping the community out and making money out of his own, have these initiatives using his own money out of his own pocket. Yeah. That is more profound than going to the ballot box because he has like a Know Your Rights camp for kids, and I'm like, that's perfect. He goes into these, to these city, inner city youths, and they talk to them, and that's my thing. Is, and I hate how they're casting him. All these excuses and people saying, and that's one thing. It's so funny when you talk about. It was last week. Got an inbox from somebody, and they were saying pretty much, well, Colin Kaepernick, you said he had 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Well, everybody did, everybody does that in Chip Kelly's system. And I'm like, well, Blaine Gabbert did. Yeah. Blaine Gabbert got benched for him.
Mark Sanchez didn't.
Right. There's a lot of people who didn't do it. And then I go back to a lot of people was excuse, well, he's a vegan. Tom Brady's a vegan. Yeah. And then even I remember somebody was talking about social activists, that he's more concerned with social activism than anything. But like Shannon Sharp said, why can't he just be the Walter Payton Man of the Year? Yeah. Why can't he? But like what it is he's doing it in the community where they don't look at that type of stuff, where they don't want to help.
Right. He's not taking a camera to the children's hospital every Tuesday.
Stop.
Like Russell Wilson.
Leave the pride Tucker alone, man.
I rode past police the other day.
Yeah, man.
But the problem I have with Stephen Smith is he's calling Colin Kaepernick hypocritical because he took a stand. First of all, he took the stand. Colin Kaepernick took the stand. He took the initiative. He's the first one to do it. And then you saw a bunch of other players piggybacking, raising the fist. Okay, raising the fist doesn't really do anything to me. This ain't the 72 Olympics.
68.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know you.
But you're trying to shame him into voting for someone who he did not believe in. Yes, we all have the right to vote. So when you have a right, that means you have a choice. If he decided he didn't want to vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, that's his choice. That means you're forcing somebody to make an irrational decision. So if you go into Hardee's, when Hardee's sold chicken, and you got $5, but you need something to eat, you know that you don't like Hardee's chicken. Why are you going to give them their money?
Or if they treat you like crap.
Exactly. So you do what's necessary, man. And then Stephen A. Smith, he talks about Stephen, I grew up in Queens. I grew up in Hollis, Queens. I had to fight and do this. Colin Kaepernick was an orphan.
Right.
He was born into the system.
Right.
And the work that he's done, not in just our country, he's done work abroad.
In Haiti and everywhere, yeah.
The whole thing with giving clothes to the parolees, trying to get rehabilitated into society. Like, that takes a big step. I haven't seen Stephen A. give out no suits.
Right, but
Stephen A. is still upset that LeBron left Miami, so now he got to interview him in Cleveland.
Right. And then it's so funny. He goes to speak to these schools and make thousands of dollars, and that's where I draw that line. It's like, and he says he's a staunch capitalist. So it's just one of those things where it's just like, really, Yeah. Next topic we want to discuss. Now, the biggest, worst kept secret of all of the last year and a half pretty much was revealed on Wednesday as Mike Greenberg is going to be leaving Mike and Mike in the Morning. And that's something I knew like a year ago pretty much. It's right.
I knew they didn't like each other.
That's what people say.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the duo has been together for 18 years. And they're saying that Greenberg is probably going to be more like, it's going to be on an AM show pretty much. They say it's going to be like a Sports Center centric type of show. Almost like how The Six and Scott Van Pelt type. But this one is going to be pretty much the AM persuasion. It'll air on January the 1st.
You get a sense that Greenberg is a little upset that he was omitted for the lead anchor on Sports Center.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And so he's trying to make it seem like Garlic is holding him back.
Yeah, and I think that's what it, and that's so funny how this all materialized. Because yeah, like I think, like you said, I think he wants to be that type of guy because he was at a point where he thought he was going to be the next. He was going to be the next Regis. He wanted to be the next Regis. He's that type of.
That Northwestern degree and get you all that you thought.
No, and that's what I'm saying, and I think that's what it really ultimately boils down to now. They can say what time they're going to leave, but I really think they should really leave really early.
Yeah.
I think I would say before the football season.
Yeah.
Because of course Golden he'll be staying on, but he'll have new co-hosts at Trey Wingo and Mike Golden Jr., which I thought they were going to put them two together, Mike Jr. and Mike, and still keeping Mike.
No, because the other show with oh my gosh, who is it? Bomani Jones shows up on there.
Oh, you talking about
is it Dan Lipton?
Dan Lipton, yeah.
Him and his dad's on there, so that's why they're not doing that. Their father-son ain't on.
But that's what I'm saying. But the whole Mike and Mike, keeping the Mike, that's why I thought initially because they were talking about Mike Greenberg was going to have his own show like last year. But the whole Mike, especially I thought this was going to never happen now. Of course, because Mike Golden Jr. used to be on the show. Well, I don't know if it's still around third and last with Robin Lundberg. Yeah, it comes on like at 4:00 in the morning.
I definitely seen it.
Right. Sometimes you gotta make the donuts. You gotta hear that. And also, round out this week's reserves, something very forward and progressive that I think can help MLB going forward, especially when it comes to helping generate the millennial crowd. Where starting today, the MLB has partnered with Facebook to live stream games on Facebook Live, similar to what you're doing now if you're watching us. Watching Couch Coach Live on Facebook Live. So, hey, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Love. Anyway, so tonight's matchup, of course, they're in progress now. It's the Rockies versus the Reds, and they'll be broadcasting games every Friday during the rest of the regular season. I think it's like 19 more weeks, but don't let that distract you because Couch Coach Live do come on 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on LexTNRadio.com. And also you can check us out on Facebook Live as well. So if you have multiple devices, put us on the tablet, put them on like the kids' phone. For real. This is what we do. So we take a brief time out. We get ready to head to overtime here on Couch Coach Live. We'll wrap up the show. We'll tell them why you met LA. We'll pretty much give a weekly game ball. And we'll put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live. We will be right back.